How do everyone listen? I kind of keep these a lot under control, man. It's pretty. It's just like more going on before I press record. JB, nice to have you back. Have we seen JB? Have we been on this since you've been on your little happy holidays? Or is this the first time?
No, first one since,
you had
since
like you had a power meeting the first week. You know what I mean? Power meeting there. I hope that went well. And then you went
so good
to Italy. Was Italy nice? Was it
very nice? Like perfect weather, you know, not too hot, but just perfect. It was like 28, but where we were on the coast in Sorrento, it was absolutely phenomenal, breathtaking.
Was it crammed, busy, or was it like the Italian Riviera where you kind of dream of?
Yeah, it was. I like the roads were busy and the town was busy, but we were staying in a villa on the coast, so just us. It was amazing. Well, there were like 8 of us that went out there, group of friends, and it was just wonderful. Really, really good.
Lovely, excellent, lovely. Audrey, how are you doing? Well, we know because you just had heat waves, and you've just been saying there's bulletins on the all daily channels about how to look after yourself in this heat wave.
Right, and check in on your neighbors and make sure they're surviving.
Wow, man.
So yeah, it's only 10 a.m. while we're recording this, and it's already 28. So it's going up to 36 today.
It's just the bizarrest weather. I mean, we've been doing this for a year or so there now, and I still can't wrap my head around how brutally cold it gets to how red hot screaming it gets.
Well, this is so unusual in June. I mean, I could maybe end of July, early August, we'd get that kind of heat. But this is June, so I'm a little concerned about what July and August are going to look like.
As long as I get better tomatoes and veg than any of you, that's all I'm bothered about. You know what I mean? Okay, to bring on the heat for Audrey because she's.
Well, I don't need a polytunnel because my outdoors is a polytunnel. So.
Jess, nice to have you again. Lovely to see you. Now, Jess, when we found out you were down at, swanky BBC Gardener's World show there, you know what I mean? So
it was not swanky. It was crawling around in mud in Birmingham weather, which is wind and rain. Apparently, that's the only 2 weathers they know. It seems, and I wouldn't say.
Oh, right. It's as bad as right. I honestly thought you would come back like, Jodie, I can only do a couple more shows and that's it. The BBC's calling. I'm going, but no, it didn't go like that, was it? Well, I did hear Hannah did really well. So
she did. It was so good. Yeah, she got a silver medal, which was brilliant. Yeah, really, really chuffed.
So how did Jess? How did you did you just rock up and it was kind of almost done, or were you there from the start with Hannah? And
no, so they were there from the Friday. That's when you were able to get in and start for that size garden, and I showed up on Sunday lunchtime. And the idea was, so she had some contractors who were actually local to that area come in, and they needed to lay a bit of paving and put some sleeper beds in. I don't know if you've seen the pictures of the garden. So yeah, it's a bit of like paving and then sleepers around the outside, and they were supposed to be finished like by the Sunday morning. So they'd had Friday and Saturday to do it. Like it wasn't a difficult job, but unfortunately the guys were not the greatest.
Right.
And they spent 2/3 of their time just like staring off into the distance, just like thinking about what they had to do. So by the time I arrived on the Sunday, like lunchtime, they'd only really just laid the flooring. They hadn't got any of the beds up. So I was supposed to arrive like when we were going to crack on with getting the planting done and getting all of that side of things done. But they were nowhere near ready. So we spent the first day doing kind of trying to mock it up, like trying to lay it out just in the car park. Because obviously, you know, it's like when you're putting a garden together in that sense, is you get loads of plants, you think you know what it's going to be like, but when you actually see the plants, it's always going to change. So that's the bit that takes the time. So yeah, poor Hannah was like, we were having to do it in the car park, like laying all the plants out. And obviously the more you move the plants around, the more damage they get. So yeah, it wasn't the best start, but
was it undercover or outside?
Outside.
Right. So it was in like some big park or something like that, was it? Or
it's in the NEC,
right,
which is like, oh my, it's absolutely huge.
Is
It
it?
just goes on for miles. You can walk for like 20 minutes and still be inside the NEC.
Wow.
So it's absolutely vast. Yeah, it's attached to the airport and the main like Birmingham International Railway Station, and the bit where the Gardener's World thing is all like one section. It's massive.
Did you see anybody? Did you see our mate Monty or anybody like that? Or...
Oh yeah, Monty was everywhere.
Very like a rush.
Frosty was doing the garden two over from us, so he was very jolly. Yeah.
Nice.
What?
Monty was not jolly. Monty doesn't know the meaning of the word jolly.
Does he not? No. What would it? Jess, has it convinced you to do something like this, or has it put you off?
I wouldn't ever do BBC Gardener's World. I wasn't really that keen on the format of it.
Right. In what way? Come on, just shoot yourself in the foot, man. How weird, man.
It doesn't sound like you ever want an invite there, Jesse, so you can say whatever you like.
It's all right, yeah. I'm not... Yes. Yes. Maybe...
No, we'll leave it for now. Yeah. We'll leave it for now, and we'll if you're brave enough, we'll.
I think the reason I wouldn't do it isn't anything against really the BBC Gardener's World Live exactly, but it's like it was a judged kind of situation, and it was quite small. But they're little gardens. I tell you one thing that I did like about it, although it was really quite small, was that a lot of the gardens, there's some fantastic people there. I will say that, like the people doing the other gardens were absolutely brilliant. But what was interesting, I don't know if any of you have ever been to it. Have you been? No. So a lot of their gardens are really tiny. They're like 1 meter by 3 meters. They're called like beautiful borders.
Right.
So it's really accessible in the sense of you look at the gardens and they're not these vast show gardens. They're just like, bam, I really like that. I could have that in my own garden, if you know what I mean. It's really, it was good.
Mm-hmm. Did the one that any that got gold, did they deserve gold, or was it kind of, you're thinking, well, Hannah's was better than that kind of a scenario, or were there some lovely gardens?
I think they were pretty fair. Right. And the people doing the judging, really, really nice. Yeah, proper chatty. Like they came around afterwards and had a chat about like why you got. And the girl who won in the same category as Hannah, who won like the overall prize for it, she was an absolute joy, and her garden was gorgeous. And yeah, it was really
nice.
Right. Anybody recognise you? Anybody like? Oh, there's Jess.
I had to sign an autograph.
Oh,
love it.
Yeah, I think it's probably the only time that's ever going to happen in my life. But yeah, it was.
Well, if I see you, Jess, I want an autograph. Yes. You know what I mean? My mother was in the co-op the other day. She says, "Hey, how are Tony?" I went over to see her, and she says, "Someone spotted us. Are you Tony's mum?" Yeah, well, you know what I mean? My mother, you know what I mean? She pushed a little Tony around there. You know,
yeah. So Mum came up on the Thursday, like when it was open. She came up on the train and had a look around. And like twice, I walked away from her and I turned around to see someone saying "Mum" at her, like just calling her Mum. So that was really
wow.
Amazing.
All right. JB, have you got something to tell us?
I do. Yes, I want to give a big thanks to vegplotter.com.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, wait, let me get
the voice.
Ad read voice. Do you need help organising and keeping on top of your vegetable garden? Vegplotter.com is here to make garden management a breeze with their top-rated garden planning tools. Explore the benefits of companion planting with Vegplotter.com, where you can position your plants to support each other's growth and deter pests naturally. The intuitive interface simplifies garden planning for gardeners of all levels. Join the thousands of gardeners who trust Vegplotter.com. Start your free plan today and discover why they're the go-to solution for creating vibrant, productive gardens.
There you go, big thank you.
That was much better than last week's, wasn't it?
I hope Vegplotter, I hope you're proud of your boy there. Mind you, even, we're joking on there, but I've took like a leaf out of, like just doing the 4 brassicas in a bed. Man,
They do look good,
like,
don't they?
Yeah, it's just like it works. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, you still get failures all the time, but quite happy doing that now. It's like it's cathartic to kind of not cram in anything. You know what I mean? So
yeah, you were saying that in your latest video, weren't you? You were putting some stuff out. And you're like, there's so much space.
Born to pick with you there. This bloody.
Oh God! No.
Recommended on the show.
It was not recommended. You know I mean? Thank you very much.
Because he's a good influencer. I'll follow him. You know what I mean? £19 it cost. The minute I got it, I got Ian from Grownlocal. Only JB says they're shite. I'm like, I'm not even going to take it out. So it's still in the packet downstairs. So,
oh dear! For anyone who's missed it, this is my my solar irrigation testing. Tony saw, and I did a follow up because I did a quick video just kind of setting it out, and it was I reserved judgment. I said don't buy this yet until we've seen if it's any good. And then when I was doing my my autopot setup, extending the autopot system, I had a bit of a play around with the irrigation system by then, and was able to say that yes, it was crap. It's not necessarily like it's not defective or anything. It just has a very, very low flow rate. So the maximum that one can pump is 4 liters a day, which when you divide it across the drippers is like 100, 200 milliliters per tomato plant.
That still might work for the idea I've got is to have it in a greenhouse just around, say, 20 little. So it's only a 4 foot by 6 foot greenhouse, and there's say 20 lettuces. That was. I mean, them quad growers, like the amount of what water the tomatoes can drink when it's offered to them.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I guess if you were trying to do tomatoes or chilies or something, they would just drink it all the day and need way more. So.
Yeah. You can buy similar units that have I just bought the wrong one, basically. Didn't read the small print. I think there's one the same brand has for like 25 quid, but it's got like a programmable controller. Right. So you can, manually set, I'd actually like it to pump for an hour or 2 hours. But I don't know how much solar like it actually generates, what it can realistically pump. I'm not too sure. But I put that off for a while. It's one for another day. I'll sort it out one day.
Ian, and I must remember, I've got the winners of the quad growers as well. So I announced them a little bit later. Nice. So reminders on as well. Yes, Ian's drawn the quad growers. But Ian, straight after I said, that one's up, try this one, Tony, right? And I went, all right. And I totted it up. It was like probably the top of the range one. It was going to cost thousands. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, really?
You know what I mean? From like £90 to thousands. And I was like, I'll just use a hose pipe. Yes. I mean, literally the hose pipe's 2 foot away. Do you know what I mean? So, but anyway.
Dear me. I did mean to say as well, there should be a link in the description for a 20% off code to vegplotter.com if Tony does it. I had to remind you last time, Tony, so yes. You got to do better this time.
Yes, I'm totally. Do you know what I mean? I've got to be reminded of everything. I have, JB. Honestly, it's like the older you get, like, don't forget to, and I've got alarms going off on watches and everything. Audrey, anything else happening apart from this bloody heat? Grow lights are still on. Grow lights are still on. So are them just...
No, that's just my husband he said it's kind of dark today. I'm going to throw those on. Right. Now it's like bright. So it rained last night, which I'm glad. That's good. So maybe so I'm thinking it'll be humid today too, which makes the heat worse.
So I wonder then, because honestly, Audrey, we over here, and I see like on messages and on YouTube and on other people's YouTube, we're having a really crappy time with the weather. Would you rather have our crappy time than your crappy time?
Oh yeah, I have actual plants that are turning into dust because they're so hot, and it just you miss one plant and it's dead. Mm-hmm. So I'm having a really crappy growing year, quite frankly. So
how's your tomatoes? Because the last time they weren't that. Oh dear me! No.
Well, I can see them out the window, so that's good.
Right.
But then I see yours in your polytunnel, and I'm like,
They're just superimposed on, man.
I am light years. I am light years away from. I don't know if I'm even going to get a tomato at this point. They look so small.
Mind you, I always, if you notice though, I always go to the what was this the science fiction ship one called, Jesse? You recommended.
Oh, Starship.
Something
no, it's not Starship. What is it?
Rebel Starfighter. I mean, that thing's, you know what I mean? It's higher than me. It's taller, and I'll.
Yeah, mine's probably about 5 inches. And my peppers, several of them just shriveled up and died.
Oh, it's too hot even for the peppers.
Yeah,
it's too hot for peppers.
Yeah, they just shriveled up and went, nope.
Right.
Oof. Well, they're south facing, so they're just getting blasted.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Could would they survive just giving them more water, or is it the physical top? Like,
well, my water bill's going to be like ridiculous this month because I'm cranking my.
Right, and even that's not helping though. It's even.
Well, but they went in so small. They had no. I don't think they had any reserves. So the ones that were tiny, boom, dead, gone. So some are hanging in there, but I'm like, this is a very unusual growing season for me.
Well, like you said, it's totally. We seem to be moaning about ours, and I'm not joking. Like the rain, it's lovely and sunny there now, but the rain's just like every day on my thing is rain. So,
but everything grows with the rain, right?
Well, see, they don't get out into the garden. You know what I mean? Because I am a fair weather gardener. Do you know what I mean?
It's also cold. Like it's not.
It's cold and
rain. It's cold and rain. So just everything is just stopped. Like. Mm-hmm. The only thing that's growing is the slugs.
Yeah, they're getting fatter by the day.
Well fed this year.
Yeah.
Not all of my brassicas, everything apart from there's like 6 cabbage plants that for some reason they haven't gone near. Everything else is gone.
Exactly there's nothing the same. Yeah, exactly the same for me.
Just grim. It's just I've still got all the containers down there because there's sticks in them, and I keep thinking they might just resprout. You know, they're not going to resprout. There is nothing there at all. But and then I'm thinking, like about a month ago, the shops that like the garden centres or whatever were full of really, really handsome looking brassica plugs, and I just know I'm going to go there tomorrow to go and see what I can find, and I know there's going to be nothing. Like it's too late really to pick them up. So,
well, all my things that are doing really good, mind you, are the things that I bought from the garden centre. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
Oh, there's no question about it. Whoever, you know what I mean. So,
well, that makes me feel better.
Well, honestly, it's just like wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I showed you the pictures of me cucumbers, and that's coming in the video whenever it'll come out. But they're just like bullets.
Unbelievable.
Honest, you know what I mean? It's just like that's the second crop. I've had, I think, 4 since then. But then, like say, if the amount that is spitting out. But these are they're called baby's fingers or children's fingers or something horrific like that. Do you know what I mean?
No, that needs a remarket. That one.
No, they're cutting kids' fingers off. But there's loads of them. There's probably about 15 I've had. But I reckon they would just make 3 big cucumbers. Do you know what I mean? So think of it like that. But
it's still very good. My cucumbers, this big. They've gone in the ground. They're looking okay, but
I can't even plant anything in this week. What can you plant in when it's that hot?
Yeah,
like that doesn't work.
Would you what you call it survive, or if you put anything in? You know them. What we've been calling them stacks, like where you
the green stalk.
Oh my gosh, I have to water those 3 times a day right now.
Right, so that's even taking a hit.
Oh, because those will fry like eggs in this heat.
Eggs. Good Lord.
Well, it's just a little pocket, we're not really used to this heat. I mean, we get warm, but we don't. It's like high 80s, maybe, not high 90s. Or 36, sorry. 35, 36.
Have you got a little calculator there on the screen there?
Well, I'm trying to get really good at it. I'm really trying to
much better than me.
Learn my conversions.
Jess, did you set yours up? The one that you stole from the guy who just put it down 10 minutes ago and shut a gate?
I haven't actually. Well, I haven't been here like since the last.
All right.
We recorded on Monday, didn't we?
Yes.
I can't even remember what day.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I've lost all time. And then I was doing bits and pieces. Then I was off, and now I've only just come back really. So yeah,
Right,
I haven't really had time to do anything.
So when you came back, did you step into the kitchen floor, everything fixed, finished, complete? Oh,
It's not.
Nothing has changed. The floor is still there. The oven is still there, but there's been no progress on the other side of the kitchen. So we're still doing washing up in the garden because there's no water. So yeah, which is great in the rain, So.
I think I might. I'll edit that bit out, Jess. I think I see tears coming out there. You know what I mean?
No, the thing is that like nobody, because obviously while I was away, like nobody from home mentioned the kitchen. So there was like a portion of me that was thinking maybe it's been done and they just haven't told me, and it's going to be a surprise when I get home, But no. Nothing had been done. So
nightmare.
Have we got anything good to talk about in gardening? JB, come on, you must have something.
You know what? I actually made a little list of positives.
Come on then, now it's all doom and gloom, man.
Where are they? I can't find them. No, joking. I did one big positive for us this year is the back garden. Everything in our back garden is looking really, really good, and it's been like my solace for the past kind of few weeks where it's been really, really difficult. I've been like, the hay fever has reared its head at the start of the month as well, so it's like a bit more difficult to get to the allotment. But just seeing everything in the back garden flourishing and looking wonderful has been really nice. We had
this is Jess's all doing though, isn't it?
Yeah. We'll give Jess the credit. Yeah, it's all Jess. Yeah.
Well, you need to get Jess up
it right
a little more.
I know, Audrey. I'm trying. But we've had a few slug attacks. The lupins have just about pulled through though. They're still hanging on for dear life. So sweet peas are now like 7 foot tall. I did a little Instagram post about those. They're all in flower. Jess has just cut a load and filled the kitchen with them. So it's really, really nice this year. Like the back garden, since we moved in like 4 years ago, and the back garden was always a bit of like, what are we going to do with it? We'll do something one day. And then it was just this winter that we finally like bit the bullet, and I put the raised beds in the lawn and made like raised beds all down the side. And it was a bit scary because like it was before just a nice big lawn. It was like a big blank canvas sort of thing. It was a bit like, oh God, is this going to look okay? It felt a bit like, is this the right thing to do? But it's all just matured like perfectly this year, and it's looking so nice.
So what's in? Tell people what's in your beds, raised beds.
So much. There is so much. Like the list, I literally couldn't even like come up with it. It's there's loads of forget-me-nots.
You didn't come up with it because Jess came up with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I would say maybe half of it has been kind of grown from seed, or 25% to half of it has been grown from seed. It's quite a big range. And then we have done a lot of garden centre purchases, but there's a lot of stuff that we've had like flowering through spring. The forget-me-nots came out right at the beginning. They were just wonderful. A lot of those were kind of volunteers, and we've got some nasturtium now just starting to trail. We've put in some clematis up on. We've got like a little arch in the middle. I've got that overwintered tomato that is like really not okay that I just planted in that arch because I was like this is do or die. It's got like one leaf left. I don't think it's okay, but we put like a few more sweet peas in on that arch as well. We've got loads of dahlias that have survived the slugs, looking like they're going to come up. We've got asters. There's loads of just little bedding plants all over the place, little verbena cultivars and that kind of thing. We put in some wallflowers, it's kind of in winter, and we were like, we'll just bang it. They were literally like a few quid. We'll just bang them in, and they'll probably die, and we'll see how they do. And they're still flowering now. They're like miraculous, like some of the best value plants. There's absolutely loads. I do need to do another garden tour, but we did one kind of in May, and it was just before everything started to bloom. Right. Jess has gone absolutely crazy with David Austin roses as well. She's like, we are at capacity now. There is no way that you can fit another David Austin rose in that garden. But they've got black spot, which Jess is trying to kind of combat. She's starting to spray and that kind of thing because it's just starting.
Sorry, Jim, I'm just trying to think. Does roses come with like a lot of like work?
Apparently, yeah. Well, I think neither Jess or I were into roses. Like we both kind of weren't super into them. And to be honest, when we bought the house, there were like roses in the border, but they were more traditional standard roses. I guess they would get really tall, really thin, lose most of their leaves, got big thorny things, a few nice big flowers. But for the most part, they need, like, if you're going to have roses like that, I think they need other things around them to kind of hide that, big thorny nastiness. So all of those came out. We got rid of those. And the David Austin ones are all a bit different. They're all like much smaller growing, and pretty much you kind of cut them right back in winter and they stay like quite small and compact. And they smell incredible as well. They're really, really nice, those David Austin roses. Really
so go on, Audrey.
Say my David Austin is dead, I think.
Really? From the heat?
Yes. So I'm going to give them a call and go, help me. I even have a video of us planting it exactly like we were told.
Of course. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, so,
gosh, that's right. I realized that nothing. It's been there for a month.
So that was the Gertrude, wasn't it?
Yes, and it's 4 little dead stalks just sticking up in the ground.
Are you going to, when you say ring them, Audrey, are you going to ring them to almost like complain or just for advice? Or?
Well, I'm gonna say, well, it says it's guaranteed, so I'm gonna call and go, so how long should it take for this to start? And I'm thinking,
is it guaranteed for Detroit weather though? That's the kind of, you know what I mean?
Well, I bought it from the U.S. company that sells them here.
Okay,
so I would imagine. I would imagine, and we have bunnies too. Oh no, we're not talking about what we're whining about. We're talking about what's
positive vibes only.
Positive
I know.
Vibes.
No, that's nice.
You're finding it hard, Audrey, are you?
Like, why am I doing this? This is crazy. So,
we had one of my patrons actually really kindly sent Jess one of those same varieties because they'd heard you talking about it and that variety. So that one, it still needs to be potted up, but it's looking okay in the back garden. It's like in full flower. We opened the box and it was in flower.
Of course it was.
And it was
because you get rain and mild weather.
But it's such a strong perfume on it. We had it in the conservatory and it was like every time you opened the door it was gorgeous.
I can't wait to smell one, but not this year.
So what are you just leaving like the flowers on, JB, and then deadheading them, or are you cutting them and bringing them back
ones
like as vases?
They get deadheaded. Jess isn't doing any bouquets or anything at the moment apart from like the sweet peas. They're coming in, but the anti-rhinums are just about to start, and there's a few other bits that she wants to start doing, a few bouquets.
Because I've seen you post on with your sweet peas. What variety is that, sweet peas?
I think those ones are called old-fashioned. I would have to ask Jess though, because she is the boss. She is the boss. I think they're mostly the old-fashioned mix. We did a few. There were some that we sowed really early. I want to say kind of January, February. They weren't overwintered, but they just weren't really loving life. I don't think they get enough light in our conservatory. And then when I planted them out, they all just kind of went, and they're flowering, but they're half as high as all the ones that were sown in kind of April.
Right.
I think it was April anyway. Don't quote me on that. But later in the year anyway, and they've really rocketed away, just incredible. And I did some at the allotment as well, and I sowed them in good time. And they were the old-fashioned mix, I know, and I did some of the Chelsea collection, and they're about this big. they were pretty much planted at the same time. So maybe the allotment is just, I don't know, maybe we've got a bit of a cold spot up there. Oh no.
Are you all right?
Oh, sorry. I've got this new screen, right? And there's Ian warned us about it. He says there's an auto shutdown, so it just went all black, and I couldn't hear a thing there. But I'll have to sort that out.
I thought it was just me.
No.
Oh dear.
Tell, where were you then, JB? Because it just went even bloody lights and all. I was like, what the hell's going on there?
No, so I was just saying the ones at the allotment have been nowhere near as good as the ones at home. I think the ones at home have really benefited from. We've lost Tony again, haven't we?
No, I'm here. Can you hear us?
Oh, I just lost you. Sorry. Yeah, so I was just saying the ones at home have done way, way, way better than the ones at the allotment.
Right.
I think maybe just from the added heat of being in the conservatory, they won't have had quite as cold a night as the ones in the polytunnel or in the greenhouse.
Right. It could be the Jess factor.
Yeah, it could be Jess's green thumb. It could be Jess's green thumb.
You leave
Are you
well
feeding
alone.
them?
Not yet. I think they might have had a little bit of seaweed when they were in their little transplant things. But that little, we've got so in the back garden, we've got a little strip of soil, probably only about 40 centimeters, 50 centimeters along the back fence, and then the rest of the planters are actually on concrete. So like on the concrete path. So on the concrete path bit, we've just put in shallow rooting, like little bedding plants. But whatever is in that soil in that little strip, things just go for great guns. They do really, really well. I think maybe they used to fertilize it quite heavily, like the previous owners or something. But there's anything that's ever been planted in there has just gone whoosh. We had hollyhocks in there like a few years ago, and they were like 8 foot tall. They were incredible.
Wow.
So maybe it's just really good soil. I don't know. It's not the same soil as I've got on the allotment, that's for sure.
Did you put some in dead early, like last year as well? Some sweet peas. Did you do that? I've seen someone was doing. I thought it was you.
I do normally sow some like November time, and I did this year, but they've done nothing. The ones that I sowed would have been maybe late March, early April. They're doing really well. They're nowhere near like what Jess's are, but they're a good like maybe 60 centimeters, and they're really start. You know when they kind of like that lean against the pole for a while, and at the moment they grab on, they really start going. They're just at that stage now. So, but the last couple of years, I've had a terrible time with sweet peas, and this year, the sweet peas, the beans, the peas, all seem to be doing really well. Normally by this time, like shelling peas just frazzle. It's too hot for them. But this year, like I've actually just direct sown another 2 rows because they're doing brilliantly. They love this pants weather. So,
that makes sense. That's nice. Yeah, my peas are doing okay.
By this stage, I have to plant them. Like the only place they're going to like have a chance is the very first of the raised beds, which is the one that's like mainly in shade. Like there's a bay tree that kind of protects it a bit. But this year they're out and about. They're really happy. The flowers though here, I was going to say like the flowers are now. I did a plot tour yesterday. And yeah, the flowers are all doing brilliantly. Normally by this time they're kind of finished and they've had their time. They're looking a bit dry and sad. And this year they look amazing. They're absolutely lovely.
The peas on my plot are doing really well as well. If we're talking positives, I did alderman this year, first time I've ever done full height peas, and oh my god, they're like 7.5 foot. They're at the top of the support structure already, absolutely loaded with peas. I'm just like, hey, I've actually grown something. In every plot tour, I'm like, oh, look, there's something growing.
I think it's loving like it. Each year, though, there's something comes around where it's like better than you've ever had. You know what I mean? It's like last year or a year before, it was like, for me, it was those calabrese, and it's something else this year. Do you know what I mean? I think it's like, peas. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, my peas have done great. Probably the best pea year I've had.
Right.
However, I imagine this week they're going to frizzle up and die. Yeah. So we'll see. I'm going to keep them well watered, but we've had like 4 harvests off them, and it's been, best. I think this might be my best pea year ever.
So is that just because they're early out, Audrey? They've missed the kind of heat?
They were early out, and I direct sowed them.
Right.
And it was I somehow the timing and the environment was just right.
I really think that's what it is with so many veg, is just the timing. And if you get the timing right, they can just kind of hit the ground running and rock it.
Yep.
But then you do the same. But then it's the same timing every year doesn't work.
Exactly. It's completely based on conditions.
So we talk about succession sowing, but I think a lot of the time, like the use of succession sowing is you're bound to catch the right time. Like you do. If you're going to sow peas like 6 times over the season, probably 3 of those times they're going to completely fail. Either the mice are going to be hungry that week and they're going to take them all, or it's going to be too hot at exactly the wrong time when they're germinating or something. But if you do it 6 times, you're bound to get a sweet spot. Like, you just
now, can you grow peas all season?
Well, if we're going to have this awful summer that it looks like we're going to have, then probably yes.
Yes.
normally no. Normally by now,
okay,
by allotment, it's too hot.
Okay. Yeah.
So will you, Jess, are you like saying now what we are, June the 17th, will you put a few more shots of peas in, or just because it's the way the weather is?
Yeah, the first lot that I started out this year were a complete fail. Absolutely just nothing. Like, they got to about this tall and then just started producing peas and keeled over. That was it. The second lot were great. I've just put another 2 rows in, like I say, but I will keep doing that. I mean, looking at the forecast, it doesn't look like we're going to get the summer that we were hoping for. So I think it's going to be year of the pea.
You heard it here first, folks.
Do you ever get, Jess, because I sometimes get a bit despondent, even on a first sowing, and it stops us sowing again. Are you quite good at well, I don't care about that sowing, I'll just put another sowing in and another one till I get one that's like a row?
If it's something that you can re-sow, I don't tend to get that downhearted about it. I've got to say, I'm feeling a little bit downhearted about the Brassicas because they were all started in February. They had a really tough start because they just wouldn't grow to begin with. I had really low germination, and then struggles with whether it was compost or whatever we decided it was that was nothing was growing earlier in the year, and they were just starting to come good, and now they've just all been eaten off. So I love Brassicas. It's probably one of my really high up on the list of faves, all over winter, and it's all the stuff that we would be eating from really late in the season, so September onwards. And I don't know, I can't re-sow them now, so I'm feeling a bit downhearted about that. But things like peas and carrots and spring onions and turnips, I don't get downhearted when I get one fail.
I do a little bit, to be honest. I get a little bit kind of.
Yeah. Is it worth trying any Brassicas, Jessie? Just to see if they'll get through?
Quite a few later, the later stuff. So the Minestra, and you can probably start some of the quick sprouting stuff, and then the more turnipy side of things like the Chimidirapa and all of that you can still do really happily. But it's purple sprouting broccoli, Cavalla Nero, Brussels sprouts, all of those kind of ones. I think it's just too late, so I'm on the hunt.
See, I would have thought purple sprouting broccoli would be okay because you're not going to harvest that till say next April, because I haven't even thought about sowing that yet.
I think some people start it kind of at the end of May, but I normally start mine way earlier, and this year it just feels like it feels like it was the start of April not very long ago, and it just feels like that window for so many things has gone.
Absolutely. I'm just going to have a look, because I think sometimes you get used to the time that you sow a particular vegetable, and then you don't realise that actually maybe you can sow a bit later. So I might just have a quick look. But
I've really struggled with Brassicas this year. And the Minestra Nero that you sent me, I was so excited about, and it just got slugged completely.
Yeah, well, that's a really late one. So, I haven't sown mine yet. I'm not doing that one until, August, probably.
Okay.
But, I'm looking at, the Kalettes, which are all dead. That says February to March, for sowing. And, I fear... Yeah, these are to April, the Brussels sprouts. I fear I'm going to have a pants brassica year.
Well, I also, just to add fear to woes, Jess, I don't think you'll probably find much. We were saying there at garden centres, I think we went to a couple for these lettuces, and there's just nothing. There's loads of lovely herbs now. Herbs, £9 for a herb. But anything else is just. And I was just lucky to get. I went down to kind of Wylam Nursery, and I got some stuff there. But
to be honest, just before I went to see Hannah, she had a bit of a nightmare with the plants, so I was picking up some stuff down here to take up, and I went to Squires in Twickenham, which is a really big garden centre, and I'm trying to remember what they had, because they had masses of veg, but I think, like you say, I think it's like stuff they had, loads of peppers, loads of tomatoes, lots of that kind of thing. But like the time of the brassica had sort of passed. I don't think they had much there. But I'm going to go back tomorrow and see what I can find.
The time of the brassica's gone. Could be a book, that. Let me get.
Brassica age.
Yes, I'll mention the winners of Ian's Grownlocal competition.
Very good, very good.
Yes. Third prize, this is for a Deep Root Success Kit, is Nancy Cochrane, entry number 485. Nancy.
Congratulations.
Woohoo! Second prize is, which is the 4 quad, is Glenn Sheern. Entry number 288.
Congratulations.
The winner. Now the winner. Grownlocal there, splashing out all the cash there. The 8 quads.
Wow.
Is Mr. Bill Bradford, entry 437.
Hooray.
Congratulations.
Well done, Bill.
Mind you, like you say, the big 8 quadder, it's a lovely prize, that.
Yeah.
And to be honest, at this moment, they're working a treat.
You're looking.
I mean, there's nothing like fruit-wise coming. Well, there is fruit on there, but once the kind of, I'm happy at the moment. I don't want to, you don't want to kind of tempt fate. You know what I mean? 'Cause I love them, and then you get to and you just end up with like 2 little bags of tomatoes. But at the moment, and it's for me. It's
you're going to have a huge harvest this year.
I mean, I don't.
Come on, Tony. Look at those plants. They're loaded with green tomatoes. You're going to get a really good harvest.
Well, what it is, though, Audrey, what I'm thinking is, like we've been down this, and Jess, you'll be able to kind of tell. Are some of them like prolific fruiters? Are they all pretty good fruiters? Or like, say the Rebel Starfighter, do you get lots of fruit off them? Because I know
with that one. I mean, I don't know, because this is my first year growing Rebel Starfighter Prime as well. I just loved the name of it, so I had to have it.
Oh, yes.
And it was recommended to me by like quite a few people as being delicious, so that's good. But yeah, you do see quite a wide discrepancy, like between some that are really like big fruiters and some that you may only get like 2 trusses off. I know there's a lot of people often say like you get 5 trusses or whatever, and to stop any more coming, because to ripen them up. I've never really had that problem so far, but some of them, they only produce 2 or 3 trusses, like you don't have to curb them, like that's the maximum that you get for the year. But I found there's a couple of them that I do still grow even though they're low producers, because the tomatoes are just so good. It doesn't matter, you just have to have them anyway.
Well, don't you find that heirlooms do not produce as many as like the F1s?
Yeah.
If you want to kick out tomatoes, you put an F1 in.
Yeah.
But if you want the flavor that those heirlooms have.
In terms of like, so I grow 3 cherries every year, 3 cherry tomatoes, which is sun gold, like the bog standard yellow super sweet one, which is the F1. That produces masses. The green doctor, or the Dr. Green, such a nice tasting tomato, but doesn't produce anywhere near as much. That's a non-F1. The garnet, though, like garnet tends to just go, I could like train it all the way across the ceiling of the polytunnel, and it just produces so much. I think it outproduces the sun gold. It's just phenomenal plant, and that's not an F1. So you do get the occasional one that's just crazy.
I just find whenever I plant heirlooms, I know you might want to plant 2 or 3 of those, because you're not going to get that many.
Yeah.
See, you're all right, though. It's space, though. You know what I mean?
Oh, I get it. Yep.
Are we going to see it, Jess?
I was just going to say, obviously, like when you get the really big ones, you tend to get less.
Yeah.
Or like last year, I'm trying to remember which variety it was I grew. I grew a real, like a whopper, and it produced so many fruit that it actually peeled the branch off. It just split down.
Oh, right.
So I realised that I shouldn't have been like, oh my God, look how many tomatoes this has got. I should have been like, okay, I need to take them off.
Mind you can get can't you get like little clips, like
I'm
belt
not
and
kidding.
braces?
These tomatoes were like this. They were whoppers, and there was like 3 on one particular branch, and it was just there was no hope. Oh, I've gone blurry.
I had a really horrible realization yesterday. I was planting out a few more tomatoes, and I realized in the polytunnel, I've just planted everything out as if it's all cordons without checking if any of them are bush varieties. And I planted out the Roma outside, which are a bush variety, and I was like, I was like, maybe I should have checked the ones inside. I'm pretty sure 90% of them are cordons when I was picking the varieties, but there might be a couple that I realised start going a bit bushy, and I'm like, oh, I've made an error here. But you can, if you've got like a bush variety, you could just like double stem it, or they just won't get as high, right? Like, so if you're picking out all the side shoots, you'll get a short. Is that right? You'll just get a much shorter plant.
You don't pick out side shoots on.
But if you did, if you did just treat it as a cordon because you were an idiot and you didn't look at the...
I have done them.
He's talking for a friend, Audrey. He's talking for a friend in yours.
If I had a friend who didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, we'll find out this year.
I remember, Audrey, you sent us over a tomato. I forget what. I'm sure it was like a red one, probably the size of a small golf ball, and it was like a bush one, and they went massive. You know what I mean? Loads.
That was Principe Borghese.
Yes,
that was tiny.
Yeah, that was for sun-dried tomatoes.
Yes, that was exactly. Yes. Man, what a crop I got off.
I have 3 of those. I have 3 of those in this year.
Wow.
Sun-dried. I'm low on sun-dried tomatoes, so I'm like, okay, we'll plant 3 this year. And
man, they were like a bush that were nearly the size of me. Do you know what I mean? Like height-wise, you know what I mean? They were like bizarre, kind of. How big are yours, Audrey?
They're about 7 inches tall right now.
I'm cruel. I'm so cruel.
No, it's just this has been a very challenging gardening year. Yeah.
Well, hand on heart, Audrey. Do you think are you going to get some fruit then? Do you think because your winter just comes?
Honestly, now that I know that most of them are settled in. This heat, they're going. Although sometimes tomatoes will stop in this kind of heat because they don't like it.
We've never been in that position.
So I think probably tomorrow might be a little cooler. Like first thing in the morning, I'm going to go out and shade cloth almost everything and see if that just helps get through this. We're like 10 days of this. So I think they just need they need a break. Yeah.
Honestly, it'll be just like we'll turn around, come back, and Audrey will be saying it is minus 30 here. You know what I mean? It's so quick comes round. You know what I mean?
I know.
My tomatoes are about the same size as yours, Audrey.
Yeah,
they're like this big. I mean, to be fair, they have looked not very great up until now. Now they're really starting to look like strong plants, but they're still short.
Right, I can actually see a stem now that I will call a stem.
Yeah.
And my peppers too. I've never had a year like this. No. Never put tomatoes. I don't
have a polytunnel to go into yet, so it's quite handy that they're really short. So.
Mind you, can you remember when Audrey was saying like earlier in the season that I'm not really growing peppers because I've still got far too many. Well, it's going to come.
Well, I think
next year, Audrey, it's going to be a bit of a dry season next year, isn't it? When you've got nothing in.
No, I'll have 900 peppers going in. No.
Man, just that again. We've mentioned this before, isn't it? It's the love of gardening. You just have
so different every year.
You know what I mean? Yeah. How many years of experience have we got here? And
pick up and go again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jess, mind you, that's Admiral. Give you a heads up clap there because if I plant something and it fails, I get really frustrated and I think, well, I'll just do something else. But to keep on planting and planting and like one more chucker, I'll get one in. I'll get a tree. You know what I mean? I find that hard, to be honest. I'm like,
Well, my real salvation is there are farmers markets.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have a horrible tomato season, I know where to go.
But it's
right.
There must do like commercial growers like growing cabbages must have it off to an art.
Oh,
I
Do you
always
know, I
think
would
about
love to
this.
know the secrets.
Yeah, I always think about this. I imagine like a cabbage farmer watching me planting out some cabbages and like laughing themselves to death, you know, like.
Well, they also
tell me
grow
your secrets.
They also grow in quantities that we don't grow in.
Yeah, of course.
Even if they have some fails, they've got 100 going.
but I tell you what,
That's the way I justify it.
Positive. When we've only got 4 and 1 goes, it's a big problem.
Yeah,
Yeah, Tony. If you only have 4 going, that's
That's me. That's my fault. Yes.
I've got to tell you about this vegetable grower at Gardener's World. He did the vegetables for Adam Frost's garden, and it's in my video, like that's this week's vlog, because this guy, the vegetables that he brought along, they came on the trolleys, for Frosty and the other guys to like choose which ones that were going to go in the garden. And the tomatoes were in pots. They were above head height and covered in red, perfect fruit. Like how, like it was amazing, and all of the veg just looked absolutely pristine. And there's Frosty was saying, like that this is the best vegetable grower he's ever come across. This guy just produces. Nice. Oh, it was amazing, absolutely incredible. Nice.
So, do you think it's all done indoors with lights, Jess? Sure, you can't be outdoors.
I mean, you would think it would have to be. Mm-hmm. When we looked at them, we were like, "Ho ho! I wonder where he got them from." Like not in the country and stuff. But I know the guy had grown them. I can't remember where he said he was, Somerset or something. But yeah, they weren't UK grown, but they were just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And everything he had grown, like all the kale and everything, just looked perfect. I was just looking at it like.
But you would think then, like say a kale or whatever, Brassicas would they would get hammered with slugs and snails. Doesn't matter how much kind of.
I mean, obviously, growing for a show garden is a whole different kettle of fish, and I think this guy specializes in like growing for show, basically.
Right.
But yeah, it was amazing. I mean, the skill involved in getting that, because obviously there's like say a row of 5 curly kale or something in this garden. Well, actually, like 30 arrived. And they picked the 5 best, obviously, to go in there, and then they all get shunted back out again. But how you would pick amongst them, like they were it was like 30 absolutely pristine, perfect kale plants. So
that's where you should go for your next interview. Like roving reporters when you went to go somewhere where like just
on tour.
Just to help with, just to get some insights into. Because I bet it's like they must have certain techniques where you think, all right. You don't just stick it in the ground and walk away.
I am wondering about chemicals and stuff, because these plants are not plants which are going to be eaten. They're show plants. Right. So I do wonder whether they might be using things that maybe we wouldn't want to use on stuff that we're going to eat. Or having said that, they were cooking the vegetables at
right.
And so hopefully they weren't all kind of laced with arsenic or something.
I was mentioning.
I think if you've got like an indoor, greenhouse where you've got everything controlled, then you can probably get some amazing results, right?
But they were beautiful. They were absolutely
no, JB, see, I still think it's hard because if you've got an indoor greenhouse, we're talking about UK, but just if you had some sort of heat, like Audrey's, that's even whatever control system, you're going to have to crank open your doors, you're going to have to take panes of glass out, or they're just
It's a commercial greenhouse, though. It's got fans, exactly. I mean, it is temperature controlled. Yeah.
And they'll have outdoor areas and shady areas. If you're doing something like that for a show garden, you've got to have it all ready, and you've got to have you're getting paid for your time to be there and checking on everything and making sure everything's.
When you look, you watch like say a Marks and Spencer's advert, where they're walking across a field, we only grow the best for Marks and Spencer's, and they'll just pick up a cabbage, and it's a field of them. They're amazing looking.
Yeah,
they come to our house and they think like, sorry, they don't make the great. They wouldn't go on the shelves of Marks and Spencer's. So.
Oh yeah, well, if it's a proper agricultural field, then it's fungicide, herbicide, pesticide. It's got it all.
But there is organic. You know what I mean? And I know you pay more for the organic ones, but what they're using. Do you know what I mean? Just kind of...
Often the same things, but just in fewer quantities. So, like organic stuff, I learned about that at uni. Actually, it's quite interesting. Some of the organic stuff, what they can use, it's not quite the same as an allotment. In terms of your restrictions, what you can use on an organic farm. Right. I'm no expert, so don't quote me. Don't go crazy in the comments.
We're kind of leave this one going. So you're saying organic's not what we would class as organic?
Look, it was a long time ago. I was at uni, okay, like 10 years. So take it with a pinch of salt. But there are definitely like still a lot of organic, herbicides and fungicides and that kind of thing that you can use. I suppose. But a lot of people you don't think I mean, most of the people that I speak to on my allotments, they don't use or spray anything really.
Right.
Maybe slug pellets, but. It's you don't see people going around. If I saw a neighbor going around and like spraying their crops with something out of a bottle, you give them a bit of like, oh, what's that? You'd ask them about it. It's not very common, I don't think.
Would you class your neem oil as like 100% organic?
It is technically organic, but that's the thing. Is like it's a bit, it's still it can be harmful if you use it wrong. If you've sprayed it on leaves and then people go eating it, it's like that's not really how you're meant to use it. So there's lots of, just because something's organic doesn't mean it's completely innocent.
Down this rabbit hole before, you know what I mean? I use that BT sometimes on Brassicas every year, do you know what I mean? And I know Charlie Dowden does, you know what I mean? So it's good enough for him.
I think BT is really harmless. Like that's really an innocuous one. It's similar to like nematodes. They are quite, relatively harmless.
I know one of the pesticides that's sold as organic, because it is organic, but it's made from chrysanthemums, and it's absolutely lethal to everything around it. Kills bees, kills everything, but it's still organic, and it's sold in garden centres as an organic pesticide. But it's, I mean, it's as bad as anything else in terms of killing something. I mean, if you're buying a pesticide, it's a killer. Is to kill something, and it's going to be nasty. Right?
What's the name of it, Jess? 100% organic. Hey. Have we got anything else? Top of the hour already. Have we got anything else to mention? Gardening? Are we good? Are we, JB? Are you doing anything this week, gardening or?
Yeah, well, I said in my last video I was going to take my foot right off the pedal because of the hay fever. And it's really, I quite often get tempted to like, I'll just go out. And then like I'm, hay fevered for like hours all evening. And I'm just like, oh, why did I do that? So what I'm trying to do is get a few more things sown, get as much in the ground as I can. And then if the hay fever is really bad, I can take my foot off the pedal. And not have to, and not have to worry or stress too much. So yesterday I just got loads more tomatoes in. I need to re-sow some beans and some lettuce, and I might start some. Is it a bit early for biennial flowers? Might be a little bit early, but I've got my eye on some of those. I need to at least pick out which ones we'd like to do, but the allotment's looking pretty overgrown as well. But trimming and like grass cutting is the worst thing you can do for hay fever. I did that 3 years ago, and I had my first ever asthma attack in my life. So now I've got like an inhaler and stuff, and that's how bad the pollen.
What you need, JB, is a robot lawnmower. That's what I'll be doing these next few weeks. 2 bikes, robot lawnmower. Someone came with which actually looked a great bit of kit, but I kind of think of a reason for it. It's like a water purifier filter, so you can throw it in a bog of water. It's all battery operated, and then you can drink the water. You know what I mean? And there was I've done a few,
I look forward to that video.
Yeah, water bat at the allotment.
What they do, which I've tried to get them, they do like portable generators, like batteries, you take on camper vans. And I was thinking, no, that might be all right for an allotment too. There's loads of kind of little. The amount of stuff I'm getting now, mind you, like asking. Do you know what I mean? It's just
crazy, isn't it?
I got an automated lawnmower offer the other day.
Oh, Jess, have you got a lawn or not? Or
well, I've got those paths.
You couldn't leave it at the allotment though, could you? I guess you could go up and like set it off to do its thing while you're like sowing and planting.
I've got a lawn at home, but it is about 1 meter by 1 meter square. Like it's absolutely tiny. I've got no use for it whatsoever.
Well, honestly,
I thought of you.
I love it. I swear to God, I love it. I haven't done the video yet, but I set it away. It's like a little friend, and honestly, and it just like
a little friend.
It just nuzzles out of its little home, goes, and it goes through all little passageways. Then it's like, and then it comes back and reverses into its little home, charging.
Amazing.
Cool.
Could you do with one of those, Audrey? You got a bit of
Sure.
land. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I probably could.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have any fences though. So
just go off into the sunset.
Maybe I don't mow all of my neighbors' lawns too.
Just like Wally, you know what I mean? Just like a little line of cut grass into the distance. That'll be my look. Do you know what I mean? It'll just kind of
just take off.
Not come back.
Yeah. I have
Yes,
one of those vacuum cleaners. So I do like that. Her name is Rosie.
So you've named it, haven't you?
Yeah, you know the Jetsons made Rosie. So yes. I thought, well, that's our little Rosie.
Nice.
Back on vacuum cleaners, we're back where we started. Oh yeah, sorry. A bit of clarification before we turn the recording on.
Yes, I'm sure everyone.
JB and Tony were showing off their vacuum cleaners.
It's so good. Do you know what I mean? My son's in China at the moment, and he keeps sending pictures of just bowls of constant bowls of noodles. But he sent a video of a robot ice cream machine, like traveling robot ice machine. So it parks up, it ding 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 ding, and then it says what flavors you got. You go over to it, and then it takes off and goes down the street to the next stop. And then he's just sent today a video of like a restaurant that's got a robot cleaner, and it's just like people are just passing it, where we would go, what's that? But there's just like this little robot cleaner just going around the floors. Well, it's big. It's a big thing, to be honest. You know what I mean? Do, 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 do. You know what I mean? Like...
Brilliant.
Right. I think that's it. Audrey, where can we find you?
In the sweltering city of Detroit. Where can you? Oh, Real Food Comes Dirty. YouTube, Instagram, and .com.
There you go. Please pop over and say hello to Audrey. JB, where can we find you, sir?
You can find me at Naturally JB on YouTube and Instagram.
There's that advertising voice again.
I know. It's like his advertising voice.
It's my BBC radio voice.
There you go.
You might have shot yourself in the foot, Jess, with the BBC. This young boy, this boy's still good. You know what I mean? This boy's got it. He's got a job there. Jess, where can we find you?
At Plot37 on .com and Instagram.
There we go. There we go. Till next week, my fine friends. Thank you very much.
I think
and YouTube.
Yes. The main players.
Thanks again to vegplotter.com for sponsoring today's episode.
Yes, big thank you, VegPlotter.
Thank you.
Links in the description, JB. Yeah. See you, everybody. Take care.